Princess Nari stood on her balcony, watching the third moon rise over the crystal spires of the Vesperian capital. Her blue skin glowed softly in the moonlight, patterns of light dancing across her arms like living tattoos. These lights always gave away her feelings, and right now they showed her boredom and frustration in slow, swirling waves. Another suitor had left today, Lord Keth of the Crimson Nebula, they called him. He ruled 12 star systems and commanded fleets that could destroy planets. He had come to the palace with gifts worth more than most worlds, speaking of love and devotion. But Nari had seen into his mind with her telepathic powers. She saw his real thoughts about controlling the Vesperian Empire through marriage. She saw how he imagined her as a trophy, not a person. "You barely spoke to him," her father's voice came from behind her. Emperor Dalsu stepped onto the balcony, his own blue skin flickering with worry patterns. "He waited 3 months for an audience." "I saw all I needed to see in his mind, father," Nari replied without turning around. "He wants power, not me. They all want power." Dalsu sighed and moved to stand beside his daughter. "You cannot read minds forever, Nari. Someday you must choose a husband. The noble houses grow restless. Our enemies watch for signs of weakness." Nari finally looked at her father. At 200 years old, she was still young by Vesperian standards, but old enough to rule if needed. Her telepathic abilities were stronger than most, letting her see not just surface thoughts, but deeper intentions. This gift had protected her from many dangers, but it also made her lonely. "Every mind I touch is the same," she said. "Greed, ambition, lust for power. Even the ones who think they love me only love what I represent. The princess, the key to the throne, the prize to be won." "Perhaps you are too careful," Dalsu suggested. "Maybe there is someone genuine among them." Nari laughed, but there was no joy in it. "Father, I have met suitors from every major empire. The Kralian war chiefs who think strength equals worth. The Nexus merchants who see me as a business contract. The psychic masters from the Void Realm who believe they can shield their minds from me." Her skin patterns shifted to show remembered disgust. "They all fail the same test. Their minds reveal their true nature." The Emperor placed a hand on his daughter's shoulder. "Your mother chose me not through mind reading, but through patience and understanding. Perhaps you rely too much on your gifts." "Mother was lucky," Nari said softly. "You were genuinely good. Your mind matched your actions. But that was different times, father. Now marriage is politics, not love." Dalsu was quiet for a moment, watching the city lights twinkle below. "The council meets tomorrow. They want to discuss your marriage again." "Let them discuss," Nari said. "I will not marry someone who sees me as a path to power." As her father left, Nari remained on the balcony. The palace around her was a maze of crystal and light, beautiful but feeling more like a prison each day. Servants and nobles filled every corridor, but she felt completely alone. Her telepathic abilities, meant to be a blessing, felt more like a curse. She could see into everyone's heart, and what she found there always disappointed her. The next morning brought news of another potential suitor. Ambassador Kang from the Silver Coalition had requested an audience. Nari knew about him already, a diplomat known for his clever words and political skill. She agreed to meet him, but only out of duty to her father. Kang arrived with a small army of advisors and gift-bearers. He was tall and thin, with the pale silver skin of his people. When he bowed before the throne, Nari immediately reached out with her mind to touch his thoughts. What she found was exactly what she expected. Plans within plans, ideas about trade agreements and military alliances, calculations about how much the Vesperian Empire was worth. And underneath it all, the same basic desire, to gain power through her. "Your Highness," Kang began, his voice smooth and practiced. "I bring greetings from the Silver Coalition and an offer of partnership between our peoples." "Partnership," Nari repeated, letting a hint of amusement color her voice. "Is that what we're calling arranged marriage now?" Kang didn't lose his composure. "A union between us would benefit both our empires. Your wisdom combined with our resources could bring peace to this sector." Nari stood from her throne and walked down the steps toward him. Her skin patterns shifted to show mild interest, though she felt none. "And what do you know of my wisdom, Ambassador?" "Your reputation precedes you, Princess. They say you can see into the heart of any being." "They say correctly," Nari replied, stopping directly in front of him. She let her telepathic probe go deeper, searching for anything genuine in his mind. "Tell me, Ambassador, what do you see when you look at me?" Kang's thoughts were suddenly careful, controlled. He had some telepathic training, enough to try hiding his surface thoughts. But Nari was too skilled for such simple defenses. "I see a leader who could help unite our peoples in common cause," he said aloud. But in his mind, Nari saw different words: beautiful but difficult, powerful but manageable, useful but needs controlling. The same thoughts she had seen in dozens of other suitors. "How refreshing," Nari said, her skin patterns now showing clear dismissal. "Another suitor who sees me as a political tool. Your audience is ended, Ambassador." Kang's composure finally cracked. "Princess, you haven't even considered my offer." "I considered it the moment you walked in," Nari replied. "Your mind is an open book to me. You may leave now." As the confused ambassador and his party were escorted out, Nari returned to her throne feeling more tired than before. How many more would there be? How many more minds would she have to touch, only to find the same selfish desires? That afternoon, she escaped to the palace gardens. It was the one place she could find some peace, surrounded by plants that had no hidden motives or secret plans. The exotic flowers from across the empire created a rainbow of colors and scents. Here, her telepathic abilities picked up only the simple, honest life forces of growing things. She didn't know that high above, a small ship was having engine problems in orbit. The humans aboard were more worried about their broken hyperdrive than the famous princess walking among the flowers below. And she certainly didn't know that one of them, a quiet scientist named Minho, was about to change everything she thought she knew about love and trust. For now, Nari was alone with her thoughts and her growing certainty that she would always be alone. The alarm blared through the small research ship Soul's Dream as sparks flew from the main control panel. Captain So Young fought with the steering controls while her engineer Tae-jin shouted updates from the engine room. "Hyperdrive is completely dead," Tae-jin called over the noise. "Main engines are failing. We need to land somewhere now, or we'll be floating in space forever." So Young checked her star charts. They were in Vesperian space, near the Empire's home world. She had heard stories about the proud, blue-skinned people and their powerful telepathic abilities. Humans rarely visited their territory. "Send a distress signal," So Young ordered. "Tell them we're a peaceful research vessel with engine problems." Dr. Minho looked up from his plant samples in the small lab area. "Are you sure that's wise? The Vesperians don't usually welcome outsiders." "We don't have a choice," So Young replied as another system failed. "It's land there or die in space." The response came faster than expected. A calm voice spoke in perfect human language. "Human vessel Soul's Dream. This is Vesperian traffic control. You are cleared for emergency. Landing at Royal Port 7. Escort ships are being sent to guide you." Within hours, the damaged human ship sat in a gleaming spaceport unlike anything the crew had ever seen. Buildings made of living crystal grew from the ground like frozen trees. Blue-skinned beings moved through the area with grace and purpose, their skin patterns creating a constant light show of communication. A tall Vesperian in official robes approached their ship. "I am Administrator Jun Seo. Your vessel will be repaired, but the process may take several weeks. Emperor Dalsu offers you guest quarters in the palace while you wait." "That's very generous," So Young said, though she felt nervous. "We're just scientists. We don't want to cause any trouble." Jun Seo's skin patterns showed amusement. "Humans are curiosities here, not threats. Your telepathic immunity makes you interesting to study." Minho raised an eyebrow. "Telepathic immunity? You cannot read our minds, and we cannot read yours," Jun Seo explained. "It is very rare in the galaxy. Most species have some psychic ability." The crew was taken to comfortable rooms in a guest wing of the palace. Minho was amazed by everything he saw. The walls seemed alive, glowing with soft light. Plants grew everywhere, but they were unlike any Earth species. Some sang when touched, others changed colors based on the emotions of people nearby. "This is incredible," Minho told his colleague Jin Woo, the team's linguist. "These plants respond to psychic energy. I need to study them." "Be careful," Jin Woo warned. "We're guests here, but we're also strangers. The Vesperians might not appreciate us poking around." But when Minho requested permission to study the palace gardens, it was granted immediately. Administrator Jun Seo seemed pleased by the humans' scientific interest. "Princess Nari spends much time in the gardens. Perhaps she can help with your research." Minho had heard of the famous princess, of course. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the beautiful, unmarried heir to the Vesperian throne. But he wasn't interested in politics or royalty. He just wanted to understand how these amazing plants worked. The gardens were even more wonderful than he had hoped. Flowers that glowed in the dark grew next to trees with silver leaves that chimed like bells in the breeze. Minho was examining a vine covered in musical blossoms when he heard footsteps behind him. "That one responds to emotional states," a gentle voice said. "When someone happy touches it, the music is bright and cheerful. When someone sad touches it, the melody becomes melancholy." Minho turned to see a young Vesperian woman watching him. Her blue skin was decorated with intricate patterns of light that pulsed slowly and calmly. She wore simple clothes, not the fancy robes he had seen on other palace residents. "Really?" Minho said, reaching toward the vine. When his fingers touched a blossom, it produced a curious, wondering tune. "That's fascinating. How does it read emotions? Is there some kind of psychic connection?" The woman stepped closer, and Minho noticed her light patterns had changed to show surprise. I cannot sense your thoughts at all. You must be one of the humans we heard about." "I'm Minho," he said, offering his hand in the human greeting. "Dr. Minho, I study plants and how they adapt to different environments." The woman stared at his extended hand for a moment before taking it carefully. "I am Nari. I study the stars and wonder about distant worlds." They talked for over an hour about the garden plants. Nari knew amazing things about each species, where they came from, how they had evolved, why they developed psychic sensitivity. But she seemed just as interested in Minho's theories about plant communication on worlds without telepathic life. "On Earth," Minho explained, "plants communicate through chemical signals and root networks. They don't need psychic abilities because they found other ways to share information." "How do humans communicate without telepathy?" Nari asked. "It must be so difficult to understand each other." Minho laughed. "We use words, body language, facial expressions. Sometimes we misunderstand each other, but that makes conversation more interesting. We have to really listen and pay attention." Nari's light patterns showed deep thought. "I have never had to wonder what someone was thinking. I always just know." "Doesn't that get boring?" Minho asked. "Where's the mystery, the excitement of learning something new about a person?" "I never thought of it that way," Nari admitted. As the days passed, Minho continued his research with Nari as his guide. She showed him hidden parts of the garden where rare specimens grew. He shared human techniques for studying plant behavior without psychic abilities. They worked together easily, both excited by the chance to learn new things. Minho noticed that Nari seemed more relaxed around him than around other Vesperians. When nobles or servants approached, her skin patterns would shift to formal, careful displays. But with him, the lights flowed naturally, showing genuine curiosity and enjoyment. "Why do you change when other people come near?" he asked one afternoon as they watched a group of palace guards walk by. Nari's patterns showed embarrassment. "I cannot help but see their thoughts. Most people think about power, status, what they can gain from me. It becomes tiring." "But you can't read my thoughts," Minho realized. "No," Nari said quietly. "With you, I have to listen to your words and watch your actions to understand you. It is strange, but also peaceful." Minho smiled. "On Earth, we call that normal conversation." For the first time since arriving, Nari laughed, a genuine, happy sound that made the nearby musical flowers burst into joyful melody. Neither of them noticed the palace guards reporting back to Administrator Junseo about the princess spending unusual amounts of time with the human scientist. They didn't know that nobles throughout the court were beginning to whisper about this strange friendship. All they knew was that for the first time in both their lives, they had found someone who truly understood them. Minho had found a being who shared his wonder at the natural world. Nari had found someone whose mind was a mystery, making every conversation an adventure in discovery. The soul's dream sat in the spaceport with its engines still broken, but neither Minho nor Nari seemed in any hurry for the repairs to be finished. 2 weeks had passed since the soul's dream landed, and the ship's repairs were taking longer than expected. Captain So Young didn't mind. The Vesperian engineers were teaching Tai Jin advanced techniques he had never seen before. But she noticed that Dr. Minho seemed almost happy about the delay. "The princess is teaching me about stellar botany," Minho explained when So Young asked why he was spending so much time in the gardens. "Did you know they have plants that only bloom during solar storms? The psychic energy from the star feeds them. Just be careful," So Young warned. "Palace gossip says the nobles are starting to talk about you two." But Minho was too fascinated by his daily conversations with Nari to worry about politics. Every day brought new discoveries, not just about plants, but about how different their species were. "I don't understand how humans make decisions," Nari said one afternoon as they sat beside a pond filled with floating flowers. "If you cannot see into each other's minds, how do you know who to trust?" Minho thought about this. "We watch what people do, not just what they say. We look for patterns in their behavior, and sometimes we just have to take chances and hope for the best." "That sounds terrifying," Nari said, her skin patterns showing worry. "It can be scary," Minho agreed. "But it's also exciting. Every person is a mystery to solve. Every friendship is built step by step, through shared experiences and proven reliability." Nari was quiet for a long moment, watching the flowers drift on the water. "I have never had to build trust slowly. I either see good intentions or bad intentions immediately. But with you," she trailed off. "With me, you have to take a chance," Minho finished. "Just like I'm taking a chance with you." "What do you mean?" Minho smiled. "I can't read your mind either. For all I know, you could be planning to have me thrown in prison tomorrow. I have to trust that you're as kind and honest as you seem to be." This idea seemed to shock Nari. Her light patterns flickered rapidly as she processed the thought that someone was choosing to trust her without certainty. "You are not afraid that I might deceive you?" she asked. "A little," Minho admitted, "but that's part of what makes our friendship special. We're both choosing to trust each other. That makes it more meaningful than automatic understanding." As their conversations continued, Nari began to understand other human concepts that seemed impossible to her people. Minho told her about hope, believing good things might happen even without proof. He explained faith, trusting in someone or something despite uncertainty. He described how humans maintained relationships through communication and compromise rather than perfect knowledge of each other's thoughts. "On Earth," Minho said, "we have a saying, actions speak louder than words. It means that what someone does is more important than what they say." "But what if their actions are false too?" Nari asked. "Then we learn from the experience and make better choices next time," Minho replied. Humans are very good at adapting and learning from mistakes. Nari found this both frightening and wonderful. The idea of not knowing someone's true intentions made her nervous, but the idea of discovering someone's character gradually seemed romantic in a way she had never experienced. She began spending time with the other human crew members too. Captain So Young taught her about leadership without telepathic advantages. "How do you command a ship when you can't read your crew's thoughts?" Nari asked. "I listen to them," So Young explained. "I watch their body language. I learn what motivates each person. And most importantly, I earn their respect through my actions, not by reading their minds." Engineer Tai Jin showed Nari how humans solved technical problems through trial and error rather than perfect foresight. "We try things, see what happens, and adjust our approach," he said while working on the ship's engines. "Sometimes we fail, but failure teaches us something new." Vesperians plan everything in advance using our psychic abilities, Nari said. We avoid failure by seeing all possible outcomes. But then you never learn anything unexpected, Tae-jin pointed out. Some of our best discoveries happened by accident. Dr. Hai-wan, the ship's medic, explained human emotions and how they managed relationships without telepathy. We use empathy, she said. We imagine how someone else might feel and respond based on that understanding. It's not perfect, but it helps us care for each other. What if you imagine wrong? Nari asked. Then we apologize and try to understand better next time, Hai-wan replied. Making mistakes is part of learning to be human. Meanwhile, the Vesperian court was becoming increasingly concerned about their princess's unusual behavior. She had never spent so much time with outsiders before, and her interest in the humans was the subject of constant gossip. Lord Wansu, a powerful noble who had once sought Nari's hand in marriage, requested a private audience with Emperor Dalsu. Your Majesty, Wansu said, his skin patterns showing deep concern. The princess has been compromised by these aliens. She spends every day with them, learning their primitive ways. Nari is simply being a good hostess to our guests, Dalsu replied, though his own patterns showed worry. She has never shown such interest in any suitor, Wansu insisted. These humans must be using some unknown technology to influence her mind. How else could such inferior beings capture her attention? Dalsu had been wondering the same thing. His daughter seemed happier than she had been in years, but also more distant from Vesperian court life. She had stopped attending state dinners and council meetings, preferring to spend time in the gardens with the human scientist. That evening, Dalsu approached Nari in the observatory where she studied the stars. You seem different lately, he said carefully. The humans have changed you. Nari looked up from her telescope, her skin patterns showing a complex mix of emotions. They have shown me that there are other ways to live, Father. Other ways to connect with people. You are Vesperian royalty, Dalsu reminded her. Your duty is to your people and your empire. I am still loyal to our people, Nari said. But I am learning that there is more to relationships than reading minds and political advantage. Dalsu studied his daughter's light patterns, trying to understand her new perspective. What do you mean? The humans choose to trust each other without certainty, Nari explained. They build friendships through shared experiences and mutual respect. Their relationships are based on who they are, not what they can gain from each other. That sounds naive, Dalsu said. Or genuine, Nari replied. Father, I have spent my whole life seeing into people's minds and finding only selfish desires. But the humans cannot hide their true nature behind thoughts. Their actions must match their character. It makes them more honest, not less. As her father left, Nari returned to her telescope, but found herself thinking about blue eyes instead of distant stars. Minho's eyes, which looked at her with curiosity and kindness rather than ambition or lust. For the first time in her life, she was experiencing what humans called falling in love, the gradual, uncertain, wonderful process of discovering another person's heart through time and trust, rather than telepathic invasion. She didn't know that tomorrow would bring new challenges that would test everything she was learning about human courage and loyalty. The trouble began at dawn when palace guards surrounded the soul's dream. Captain So Young watched through her window as Vesperian soldiers took positions around their ship, cutting off all access to the spaceport. What's happening? Tae-jin asked as he joined her at the window. Before So Young could answer, Administrator Jun Seo arrived with a formal escort. His skin patterns showed official displeasure instead of the friendly curiosity he had shown before. By order of the Imperial Council, Jun Seo announced, this vessel is impounded pending investigation. The human crew will remain in the palace under protective custody. Investigation of what? So Young demanded. We're scientists, not spies. That will be determined by the council, Jun Seo replied coldly. In the gardens, Nari and Minho were unaware of the crisis developing around them. They were examining a rare plant that responded to stellar radiation when palace guards appeared on the pathways. Princess, the guard captain said respectfully but firmly, you are requested to return to the palace immediately. The human is to come with us. Nari's skin patterns flashed with anger. By whose authority? The Imperial Council, Your Highness. There are serious questions about these aliens and their influence on the royal family. Minho stepped forward, calmly. It's okay, Nari. I'll go with them. This must be some kind of misunderstanding. But Nari could see the fear in his eyes, even if she couldn't read his thoughts. She reached for his hand. I won't let them hurt you. Princess, please, the guard captain urged. The Emperor is waiting. The great council chamber buzzed with tension as Nari entered to find her father seated on the throne, surrounded by the most powerful nobles in the empire. Lord Wansu stood at the center, his skin glowing with righteous indignation. Nari, Emperor Dalsu said gravely, serious accusations have been made against our human guests. What accusations? Nari demanded. Lord Wansu stepped forward. These aliens have used unknown technology to manipulate your mind, Princess. No natural being could capture your attention so completely without psychic enhancement or mind control. Devices! Nari's light patterns blazed with fury. That's ridiculous! The humans have no telepathic abilities at all. Exactly, Wansu declared, which makes their influence over you even more suspicious. How could such primitive beings interest someone of your intelligence and breeding unless they were using artificial means? Perhaps, suggested Lady Minjung from the council. They possess mental shields we cannot detect, technology that makes them appear harmless while they plant thoughts in your mind. Nari looked around the chamber at faces she had known since childhood, all showing suspicion and fear. You're all wrong. The humans are exactly what they appear to be, honest, curious, and kind. Then explain your unusual behavior, Wansu challenged. You have rejected every suitable suitor for decades. Yet you spend every day with this alien scientist. You ignore state duties to study plants with him. You have changed completely since their arrival. Emperor Dalsu leaned forward, on his throne. The council demands proof that these humans are not using some form of mind control technology. What proof would satisfy you? Nari asked. A full telepathic examination, Lady Minjung replied. Let our most skilled mind readers probe the humans' thoughts. If they find no evidence of deception or hidden technology, the humans will be cleared. And if they refuse examination? Nari asked. Then they will be expelled from Vesperian space immediately, Wansu said with satisfaction. Nari felt trapped. She knew that Minho and his crew had nothing to hide, but she also knew they might be frightened by the idea of telepathic probing. Humans weren't used to having their minds touched by others. I want to speak with them first, she said. Very well, Dalsu agreed. But the examination will take place tomorrow, whether they cooperate or not. Nari found the human crew confined to their quarters under guard. They looked worried but not panicked. We heard about the accusations, So Young said when Nari was allowed inside. Mind control technology? That's insane. I know, Nari replied. But the council is frightened. They cannot understand how you could influence me without telepathic abilities. We haven't influenced you, Minho said quietly. We've just been ourselves. I know that, Nari said, her skin patterns showing affection and determination. But I need you to undergo telepathic examination to prove it to them. The humans exchanged glances. What does that involve? Haiwan asked nervously. Our most skilled mind readers will probe your thoughts and memories, Nari explained. They will see that you have no hidden agenda, no secret technology, no desire to harm our people. Will it hurt? Taejin asked. No, but it will be intimate, Nari admitted. They will see your private thoughts and feelings. So Young stood up straight. If that's what it takes to clear our names and help you, we'll do it. The next day, the council chamber was packed with nobles eager to witness the examination. The human crew stood in the center, while 3 master telepaths prepared to probe their minds. The first telepath approached So Young. His skin patterns showed deep concentration as he reached out with his psychic abilities. After several minutes, he turned to the council with confusion. I sense dedication to her crew and her mission, worry about her ship, fondness for Princess Nari, but no deception, no hidden technology, no ulterior motives. The second telepath examined Taejin and Hyewan with similar results. Simple, honest thoughts. Curiosity about our culture. concern for their friend, nothing suspicious. Finally, the most powerful telepath in the Empire approached Minho. Nari held her breath as the ancient mind reader placed his hands on the human scientist's temples. Minutes passed in silence. The telepath's skin patterns showed amazement, then wonder, then something like joy. "What do you see?" Emperor Dal Su asked. The old telepath removed his hands and turned to the council. "I see a mind unlike any I have ever encountered. No psychic shields, no hidden thoughts, no deception of any kind. This being thinks exactly what he says and feels exactly what he shows. His concern for the princess is genuine. His love for knowledge is pure. His friendship is real." "Love?" Wansu demanded. "Did you say love?" The telepath nodded slowly. "He loves her, yes, but not as a possession or a path to power. He loves her mind, her curiosity, her kindness. He sees her as a person, not a princess." A murmur ran through the chamber. Nari's skin blazed with emotion she couldn't hide. "And the princess?" Lady Minjung asked. "What of her feelings?" Before the telepath could answer, Nari stepped forward. "My feelings are my own," she declared. "But I will tell you freely, yes, I love him. Not because of any technology or manipulation, but because he treats me as an equal. Because he listens to my words instead of reading my thoughts. Because with him, I learned what it means to trust someone by choice rather than certainty." The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Lord Wansu's skin showed outrage. "This is impossible! A Vesperian princess cannot love an inferior alien." "Why not?" Nari challenged. "Because he lacks telepathic abilities? Because he comes from a small world instead of a great empire? Because he cares more about plants than politics? Because he is not one of us," Wansu shouted. "Then perhaps," Nari said quietly, "it is time we learned from someone who is not one of us." Emperor Dalsu studied his daughter's determined face and the calm acceptance of the human scientist who had somehow won her heart. Around the chamber, nobles argued and debated, but Dalsu was thinking about something else entirely. Reports had been coming in from across the galaxy. Other empires were taking notice of the humans. Their lack of telepathic abilities, once seen as a weakness, was being viewed as a diplomatic advantage. They could negotiate with telepathic species without the usual mental intrusions and hidden agendas that complicated interstellar relations. "The examination is complete," Dalsu announced, his voice cutting through the arguments. "The humans are cleared of all suspicion. But this situation has raised larger questions that the Council must consider." He looked directly at his daughter and the human scientist standing beside her. "Questions about the future of our empire and our place in a changing galaxy." 3 days after the telepathic examination, Emperor Dalsu called Minho to a private meeting in the royal study. The room was lined with crystal displays showing star charts and diplomatic communications from across the galaxy. "Dr. Minho," Dalsu began, his skin patterns showing the complex emotions of a father and ruler, "I find myself in an impossible situation." Minho stood calmly before the Emperor, though his heart was racing. "Your Majesty?" "My daughter loves you," Dalsu said simply. "The telepathic examination proved that your feelings for her are genuine, but you are not Vesperian, and she is heir to an empire." "I understand the complications, sir," Minho replied. Dalsu activated a holographic display showing messages from other galactic powers. "Since word spread about the humans in my court, I have received communications from 12 different empires. The Kralian Confederation wants to establish an embassy on your homeworld. The Nexus Trade Union offers exclusive contracts. The Void Realm requests cultural exchange programs." "I don't understand," Minho said. "Your people's telepathic immunity makes you valuable as neutral negotiators," Dalsu explained. "Empires that have been enemies for centuries are willing to trust human mediators because you cannot read minds or be mentally influenced." The Emperor paused, studying Minho's face. "This changes everything. Humanity is no longer an insignificant species from a small world. You may become the most important diplomatic force in the galaxy." Minho felt overwhelmed. "We never wanted political importance. We just want to explore and learn." "Unfortunately, that choice may no longer be yours," Dalsu said. Which brings me to why I asked you here. He deactivated the display and looked directly at Minho. I am prepared to offer you something that has never been offered to an alien, genetic modification to become telepathic like us. Minho's eyes widened in surprise.